everyone and welcome to my almost mid-year series check-in. So I'm actually refilming this intro because my camera did not capture the first time I filmed this, but essentially this is me going through my reading journal, looking at my series to read spread and checking to see which ones I've finished, which ones I've made progress in and which ones I really need to continue reading. So let's skip over to past me and see exactly how well I've done or how well I have not done. So as you can see, this is my series to read spread on my digital reading journal, and I will actually leave a link down below to the blank version of the full reading journal if you want to check it out. It is completely free to download, so go and check it out, the link is down below. But this is how I'm using the series to read spread, and as you can see, it's not exactly full of colour right now, shall we say. I really should have read a lot more series by now, but I mean, there are a few things that I have made progress in. There's a few things as well on here where I have actually finished a series, so let's go through the ones I haven't read and why, and then go through the successes. So for Book Wanderers, Something is Killing the Children, Inkheart, and also Black Hammer, Lockwood and Co, The Dark Gifts and The Bone Season. I haven't read any more in these for no apparent reason. I have the next books in the series, so that isn't the problem. I just haven't read them for no reason whatsoever. I don't have an excuse. I legitimately don't have an excuse, so that is going to be something I'm going to be focusing on throughout the rest of the year. In terms of Binti, The Wicked and the Divine, Iron Widow, Pinocchio Vampire Slayer, and Low and Grim, and also on the second page, The World Tree and Spy X Family. I am not continuing on with these series right now simply because I do not have the next one in the series available to me. Whether that be I just haven't bought the next one in the series, or I am dependent on my library getting the next one in and they just haven't done that yet. So that is why I haven't read some of these. Some of these I really genuinely don't have any excuse for, but some of them I genuinely do. As for what I actually have read so far this year, I have managed to read one book in the Shadowhunters series specifically. That was Chain of Gold, so that is the first book in the latest trilogy in the overarching universe. I admittedly haven't continued on with that series simply because the books are really chunky and I haven't had that much time, but I am hoping to actually complete the next two this year as well. I will say that usually I end up leaving the final one in a Shadowhunters trilogy until the absolute last minute in December, and I'm hoping not to do that this year, so fingers crossed on that one. But either way, I do want to read the next two in this series by the end of the year. In terms of Discworld, I have only read one book so far, and that was Moving Pictures, and I am absolutely fine with that because I'm not trying to read loads of Discworld books every single year or anything like this. I'm quite happy to just be reading one a year or maybe two, because obviously there is a finite number of these books and I do not want to be running out of them anytime soon. So I'm quite happy for that to just be one and done. If I don't read anything else for the rest of the year in the Discworld, that is absolutely fine. I've still read one, I've still made progress, and that is absolutely fine by me, and that is exactly what I want for this series. With Murderbot, those first two squares are actually rereads of the first two books, because I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot what happened in the first two books. So I had a quick listen of these books to remind myself what happened, and then continued on with the series. I have now just finished Rogue Protocol, so I am now making progress again, but I did colour in those two squares as well, just to make it look like I'd made a bit more progress than I actually have, I won't lie. But I have read 3 books in this series this year so far, so again, I'm still making progress with this series now. Even if the first 2 was rereading, I am now officially making progress again, so pretty happy with that. In terms of the Chronicles of St. Mary's, I have only read 1 so far, and that was the 3rd book in the series. And if I only read 1 or 2 more throughout the rest of the year, that is absolutely fine. If I only read this one this year, again, absolutely fine. I am still keeping my hand in with this series. I'm still making progress with it. It's not massive amounts of progress, but this series is about 15 books long, including the spin-off, so I'm trying not to blast through it by any means or anything. I'm just sort of taking my time with it because I don't want to pressure myself too much with this series, because like I said, it is very long and I do not want to be burning myself out on this series or anything. So if I read 1 more, that's fine. If I manage to just read this one this year, still again absolutely fine. The same goes for the Toby Day series, because this again is 15 books long and it is massive, it is intimidating, and I am just working through these as and when I feel like reading these. If I only read the one this year, that's absolutely fine. If I read more than that, absolutely fine as well. I'm not so worried about running out with Toby Day or also St. Mary's, because both of them are still ongoing series, so it's not like I'm going to be running out of reading material anytime soon on that front, so that is absolutely fine. If we go on to the next page as well, I've also read another book in the Mirror series, and actually, I won't lie, I forgot to wrap it up. It was literally listed on my Goodreads as I was getting everything ready for my tier rank wrap up, and then completely forgot to put it on there. So that tells you how much of an impact that book had on me. But I've only got one book left in this series, and it is by L.L. McKinney, who I really enjoy. So I am hoping to finish out this series this year, because like I said, there's only one book left, and it's by an author I really enjoy. In terms of Ninth House, Darkwood and World Tree, these are all series I've started this year. I own the next one in Ninth House. I also own the next two in the Darkwood series, so I need to get on that. But to be fair, I've only read these two books recently, so I haven't made progress in them yet, but that is still absolutely fine because I've only just read them, so it could be that I make more progress throughout the rest of the year. I don't know. I'll see how the time goes. In terms of World Tree, I physically cannot continue it right now because the next one isn't out yet, so until that next one comes out, I literally can't do anything. So if I don't manage to read the next one in this series by the end of the year, that's absolutely fine. Most of the year it wasn't even out, so that's absolutely fine by me. In terms of the space called City, that means the city we became, and I finally read The World We Make and finished out this duology, so very happy with that because that was one series ticked off the list entirely. I know it was only a duology, but it's still a series, it's still completed, so I'm pretty happy there. Spy X Family I'm also not too worried about because, like I said, I'm very much reliant on the library for this one, so if the next one doesn't come through until next year, it's still fine. I've still kept up to date with it as much as I can, and that is absolutely fine. In terms of the Miles, this one is talking about the Miles Morales Spider-Man series, and this was so good, and I also finished it this year. This one had been hanging over me for about 2-3 years, and it was really annoying me because I was like, come on, I really want to read this kind of thing. And I finally did it in February as part of my 28 graphic novels in 29 days video. I will leave a link to that vlog up above if you want to check it out. So I finally finished that series, and while the ending wasn't my absolute favourite, I'm still really glad I managed to finish this one. Then if we go back to the first page, there is Trials of X, and this one I have only read 4 issues so far, but considering that is usually my average amount of volumes I read in a year, the fact that I've already managed that by May makes me extremely happy. I was also kind of putting off reading this series for a while, simply because I didn't have volumes 11 and 12. I now have those because they went on sale, so I quickly nabbed them, so I now can just blast through the rest of the series when I get 5 minutes. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do that in June, and maybe this month as well in May, because I want to get this done before July in time for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie to come out, so I can read all of the Deadpool and Wolverine based stuff without Trials of X sort of hanging over my head. So that is very much the plan. I'm still really enjoying this series, and I'm just really glad that I've managed to make this much progress in it this year so far. Then the only other thing to mention is Controverse, which is this one here, as you can see, because this one has been crossed out, and that is simply because I started reading the second book in the series and it just sadly did not work for me. I really wanted it to, but it did not work for me. I ended up DNFing it, so I decided to DNF the series. And that is all of the series that I want to mention right now. There is a couple I want to reread or just start rereading because I never finished them, but I forgot what happened last time, this kind of thing. But I'm not going to mention those right now simply because I want to be focusing on the stuff I've got listed down at the moment, which I need to finish or catch up on, this kind of thing. But overall, I'm not entirely mad with how this is going. Obviously there are quite a few series I still need to focus on and things like this, but I have managed to complete 2 series and I've made significant progress in another one, and I've also kept my hand in with several other series as well that I really wanted to. There's just a few that I have been neglecting that I need to get on with, and I think those ones that I do want to focus on most now is going to be the Book Wanderers series, as well as I think Darkwood and Ninth House. I think those are going to be the ones I'm going to focus on most, apart from obviously Trials of X. And yeah, I think that's all I've really got to say in terms of the series I'm currently reading and how well I'm doing with them. Obviously, like I said, there's room for improvement in places, but I'm also still, I'm not starting like 1,000 new series. I'm not continuing on with the ones I've already started. So it could be a lot worse. It could also be better. But that's always the case with these things. And I think that's about it for this series check-in. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me a series you really want to finish before the end of the year. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a checkmark emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which has got a full reading guide for Miles Morales, as well as the Krakoan era as well, if you want to check that out. I'll also leave a link as well down below to my Bookish Etsy store if you want to check that out and treat yourself to something bookish today, as well as the link as well down below to my digital reading journal if you want to download that for free as well. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!